nothing to it. Go ahead and bring Goliath on. Ain't no giant, I ain't gon' fire on. Catch a fade, you, I'm warm, I'm gone. Y'all can catch the wave that I am on. I am icon, y'all are wide wrong. Think that I'm gonna reconcile bonds. Here ain't nothing to it though. This is on me, ain't got much to do with who you know. Keeping it true to from 10 L's into a milli though. But they already knew that those farewell to your opinions. Know that he is something. This is all me, ain't got much to do with who you know. Yeah, keeping it true to form, but they already knew that, y'all. Here we go.
What is up, and welcome to the Saturday Pigskin Week 6 edition, presented by Scout Construction LLC. We're in downtown Mansfield, Ohio. My name is Brian Skowronski, joined once again by the whole squad. Erik, Will, welcome back. Effie, James here as always, and it's crazy to think that we're already past the midway point of the season. We know, I think, a lot about these teams now. Erik, what do we know, though, for sure? What have you learned through 6 weeks?
Well, I think what we learned through even week 1 is that the TY Tigers are the best team in North Central Ohio. They have one of the best defenses I've ever seen at the high school level. I mean, they are that good. I mean, when people throw the word elite around now, like it's, you know, like the word love, right. You know, all I can tell you is that the TY Tigers are elite on that side of the ball. The MOAC race is heating up. Seneca East has completely separated themselves, I think, from the rest of the N10. So right now we're battling for the top tiers of each conference and for playoff positioning.
What sticks out to you, Mr. James?
Well, again, I'm all about the league play because it's so, you know, state championships are hard to come by. So most of these teams, most high school teams are playing for league titles. And so at this point, a lot of league titles are still up for grabs. The OCC, the N10, and all of these leagues are still up for grabs. So, and some teams that are really putting themselves in good positions and playing good enough football to take their stake at a claim for the title. And I just enjoy this part of the season for that reason.
Well, we got highlights from 5 games from last night, including some key conference battles. Let's go ahead and check them out right now in the run back. Two 5-0 teams, East Knox on the road at Northmor. It was homecoming for the Golden Knights too, and it's about to be a heavyweight showdown. Only problem is, only the Bulldogs brought the power punches. Caleb Galwitz had a monster game, 265 yards on the ground and 4 touchdowns. This game was never close, fellas. We don't even need to get into the highlights, really. East Knox led 27-zip at the half. They steamrolled the Knights 41-0. Any good way to explain what happened to the Golden Knights here?
Well, I'll tell you what, homecoming, got a lot of things going on. You got a lot of distractions, things that coaches worry about. I wasn't necessarily surprised that East Knox won, but I was surprised by the margin of victory.
Galion was looking to stay undefeated. It was also homecoming night there. We'll see if that factors in. Tigers uncaged, but it was Brennan South uncaging Ashton Lions. 7-zip, Colts on top. Later, it's South muscling his way in. 14-0 at the half. It was 24-0 in favor of Clear Fork in the third. Galion would rip off 21 unanswered points on this thing. Wilson Frankhouse brought him back. Touchdown passes to 3 different receivers, but South just too much for him. 4 total touchdowns ices the game as the Colts win 31-21 on the road. Any surprise?
Well, I think I was a little bit surprised, but I do know if you get off to a good start, especially on the road in a league game, that means everything. And they've got a quality quarterback in Brennan South. So Clear Fork came to play, and Galion started playing just a little bit too late, and that was the difference in this one.
Let's move ahead now. Mansfield Senior on the road at Lexington. Tigers looking for their first 6-0 start since 2013. And we're going to see Cam Todd here in a moment with a deep shot to Cyrus Ellerby on the money. It was 7-0 senior high early. This is a dime, Effie.
You know, Cam Todd earlier in this quarter threw a short pass, and the very next opportunity he got, he really stepped into it. It was a beautiful throw right down the sideline. He's really grown as a quarterback.
Here he is from 5 yards out, making it 14-zip. We're going to show you all Tigers offensive highlights here, and there were plenty, but it was the defense, again, that stood out for them. They held Lexington to 62 yards.
Yeah, right. It was literally like 460-some yards to 60-some yards. As a matter of fact, Senior High just bullied them all night. Like I said, you can draw X's and O's all you want. The bottom line is the TY Tigers are the best team in the area, and quite frankly, 10-0's a realistic expectation.
They won 42-0 last night. It's the 5th straight loss on the other side for the Minutemen. River Valley at Ontario, and we're going to dive right into the highlights where Cooper Graham is diving in for 6. He'd find the end zone again as a defender right here with the interception. He rumbles 67 yards back to the zone. It was 14-0 early third, so Ontario's still in it. But once the Vikings got the ship sailing, they were rolling all over the Warriors. Third straight loss for the Big O after a 2-1 start as River Valley takes them down 34-0. Vikings are now 5-1 overall. Pretty good football team, I think.
Yeah, you know what? I think they might be the biggest surprise of the MOAC, to be honest with you. I didn't hear anybody really talking about River Valley, and for them to be competing for the league title this late in the game says a lot about who they are.
Go to Bob Wine Field now, wrap things up with Lucas taking on Steubenville Central Catholic. Logan Niswander here, hurdles the defender, takes pay dirt, and then the bad snap will lead to a Cubs safety. Crusaders had a cool play. Let's see them get on the board here. Nice. Dime, touchdown, but that's all they did all night. Nice wander coming up here to Sauter for the score, and then Tommy Zerza was the real story. He had 4 of those 4 touchdowns for them as Lucas wins big, 57-7. They just don't slow down out there in Cubs country.
No, this point of the season, it's all about getting better each week, and for Lucas, it's not about the opponent so much. It's about fine-tuning who they are and their identity offensively, and obviously they have been able to open up with the run and the pass.
So Mansfield Senior rolls, so does Lucas. Clear Fork goes on the road, beats a good Galion team. What do you think stands out, though? What's like the top storyline? What were you most impressed by, Erik, would you say?
2 things. Number one, just seeing Mansfield Senior just continue to get better. I wasn't able to be here last week to talk about their big win against Sandusky, but, you know, I think it would be a little disservice to say they came out flat, but it's typical. You know, you're dealing with 14 to 18-year-old young men. Once they exuded who they were, and once they got things going, I'm sure once Chokey kind of got into them a little bit, I'm sure they picked it up a little bit. It's got to be expected. Effie hit the nail on the head when he was talking about, at this point in the season, you're trying to get better week after week. And senior high's doing that. And then also seeing Clear Fork bounce back. You know, just what a great job by Dave Carroll and his staff. And I did a disservice to Brennan South a couple weeks ago. I didn't mention him and being one of the better quarterbacks in the county. And I definitely think he needs to be in that conversation.
I agree. Brennan South was special last night. And again, I put my foot in my mouth. I said Galion was going to win big in that game. That was my bold call. I'm 0 for 6 on the season for that. So if you're on the opposing side, you want me saying that you're not going to win, definitely. Yeah, he definitely stood out to me. I would say that was what was most impressive, going on the road, seeing Brennan South, 4 total touchdowns for him. I thought the Colts defense played really well too. Galion wasn't able to get off with all the playmakers they have, and they do have some. I think they're going to contend for the league title when it's all said and done here. But Effie, what did you think from week 6? What were you most impressed by?
Well, I will say first of all that I'm concerned about the Ontario Warriors. They started off 2-1 with some real promise to their season, and my bold call last week was that they were going to get the win against River Valley. It didn't work out, but you know, at this point in the season, things start to become a trend. I think they've been shut out, if I'm not mistaken, the last 2 weeks in a row. So I know how that goes. I've been on coaching staffs where your team starts to get used to losing, and things start to go south, and the weather starts to get cold. So I think Ontario does have the talent to compete in some of these games, but they've got to get themselves turned around. And also, I'm like Erik. Senior high has really stepped out. If they could take another step past outside of everyone else, I think they have. Their defense, and watching from the sideline, just looking at personnel-wise who they are makes a huge difference. My old coach Stan Jefferson used to tell us, we would always say, look, we don't have to see them. We don't have to go to the game. We got the film. He'd always say, I want to see a team on the hoof.
Right.
Which means get your eyes on them, get at ground level. And I watched the game from the sideline, and these Tigers a lot of them look like men. They look like a team, and they play hard, and they are certainly the class of this area right now.
Let's take a look at some other scores. We'll begin with the MOAC, talk a little bit about this title race that's going on. Pleasant shuts out Kip Columbus last night. That's non-league, but that was 44-0. Shelby goes on the road and whoops Harding 49-7. We saw what Clear Fork and Ontario did. So I guess my question for you gentlemen is, the Whippets now are in sole possession of first place in the conference out there. Is it theirs to lose? Is Shelby in the driver's seat? Clearly.
I mean, I think they're in the driver's seat, but that doesn't, I don't know what kind of a car they're driving just yet. They got a big one coming. They've got homecoming this week, so you got the Tigers coming in. They're going to be motivated. You're going to see kind of that stuff inside. What's Coach Dick able to do to Galion to get those guys refocused, because they get a win. They're right back in it. You're now in the co-lead. Like you pointed out earlier, Clear Fork is right there. If Clear Fork wins out, they can do no worse than a co-championship. So it is still very hot. It's going to be one of those things that's I think it's going to go right down to week 10 to decide that league race, and that's how you want it. As a coach, every week you have your kids' attentions when you are in a chase of something. Like he said, don't worry about the state playoffs, don't worry about state championships and those things. Just worrying about putting a league banner up in your gym.
I agree with that, because the fact of the matter is most teams that are capable of winning league titles are not capable of winning state championships.
Right.
So you got to put everything you got into league games and winning the league. And to go along with the MOAC, the OCC is still in play.
Right.
I believe it's still in play. Mansfield Senior is clearly the best team, but in football, it's not a best of three. It's whoever plays the best game on a single night. And that's why I think Coach Bradley and their staff are still working very hard to keep those guys focused, because they know they got Ashland coming in on homecoming this week. And if they come out not prepared, we saw what happened to Galion, who was undefeated. They didn't come in ready to play. A team comes in on the road, gets off to an early start. You never know what could happen.
Take a little deeper look at the OCC now, where Ashland beat up on Madison last night 49-7. So like you mentioned, they're still perfect in league play even after that 0-4 start. Still got a lot to play for out there. Mount Vernon lost their second straight outside of the conference though, 38-30 at Zanesville. And then Worcester over West Holmes 33-21. The Generals are 3-0 in the league. So does it feel like it's kind of a three-team race, Worcester, Ashland, Mansfield Senior?
I think so. I think that those three teams are primed to win the league. But I will say again that it's so much about, at this point, there's so much film, there's so much video. There's, you know a team's tendencies now. And as invincible as Mansfield looks today, there are coaches right now looking at that video thinking like, here's a weak spot that we can exploit. Here's another one we can exploit. And Mansfield's doing the same thing to there. That's what it's all about. And all you got to do at the end of the day is pull together one game that jolts you in the first place, and everything changes. So those three teams, and I think they all got the capability of doing it.
So the TY Tigers, clearly the class of the OCC. The TI Tigers in the Northern 10, Seneca East. It looks like maybe this thing's a wrap after 6 weeks. Guys, you tell me. They beat Winford last night 27-7 in Bucyrus. They're the only team that still has a spotless record within the league. Is it a wrap?
Here's the thing. Obviously, Winford for so long has been the class of that league, and they're obviously still very well coached, very disciplined. I think their kids probably played really well. I just think this is a really nice group of young men coming through Seneca East's program right now. Ed's doing a great job with them, and I think it's going to be tough. I think you're looking at a 10-0 team, and then we're going to be kind of seeing what how far that they can make that push. But it still goes. I think they're similar with the Tigers. The TY Tigers, they have to get better each and every week, because I think their goals are the first goal is to win that league title, but I think they have bigger goals than that, and you have to strengthen weaknesses, and then you have to fine-tune what you do well.
Bucyrus, the Royals carry all 2-1 in the league, but the Tigers already have wins over 2 of those teams, so obviously they're the team that you'll be gunning for the rest of the way. Let's go ahead and hit the whiteboard now. Erik's got some old school option stuff to show you last night from Mansfield Senior.
All right, here we go. So we're going to look at the old school option out of the 2-back spread. People change formations, but offense is still offense. And what we're going to see is how the TY Tigers were able to manipulate the situations offensively to get what they wanted all night. So Lexington always has this stack box. So that means they have a 3-3, and then they have their adjuster. So what they wanted to do was they wanted to read this gentleman here. That's their first read, and then they would have a second read. Now the Tigers were smart, because they realized if we walk our number 2 receiver really far out, it's going to pull him out. So we want to get the smartest guy we have, which is Cam Todd. And this dude's good. He's one of the best in the area. Everybody is going to release, so this guy's going to work here, because we know with flow he's going to move. We're going to double here. We're all stepping, because these guys are blocking for this. He's going to read this. Now here's the read. If he comes upfield and closes his shoulders, quarterbacks keep it every time. If he stays disciplined and square and squeezes, you hand the ball off. It's a very simple read. So what we're going to see is you're going to see him turn his shoulders and chase this fullback. And I can probably guarantee you he wasn't coached to do that. So he's on that hip and he's running. So Cam Todd's going to keep it and attack right where the area left. He's too wide, can't get there. You're going to see the pitch phase. That's the old option. And then we were going to make him decide, but because of where we're at on the field, that becomes a very quick touchdown. You're going to see this backer who over-pursued come back late. Very simple play. Now, the fine technique of riding this. Come on in here, Brian. Brian's going to be my prop for this. So Brian's going to stand right here. So I'm the quarterback. Brian's my fullback. What he's going to do is at the snap, I'm going to catch the ball. He's going to work through. All I'm going to do is my weight is going to shift from this leg to this leg. As he continues through, my eyes are on my read. Once I get the pull read, I go here, back across, and I replace the guy that I was reading. You don't want to go too wide because it allows the defense to come back to you. Great play by the offensive staff of the TY Tigers, and this is why they are really, really good. They put their best athletes in situations where they cannot fail with smart people making decisions. Cam Todd's one of the best in the area, and that's why the TY Tigers are beating teams handily.
So there's Erik Will with the breakdown of Cam Todd and the old school triple option. Cam's about to make our list again right now of Friday Night Phenoms presented by Baker's Collision. Let's kick things off over at Heisey Park, where it's Brennan South and the Clear Fork Colts going on the road and doing some damage. They get the big win. South, though, 25 of 36 through the air, 264 yards and a touchdown. Really special game on the ground, though. They ran a bunch of options, 24 carries for the quarterback, 85 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also had the game-clinching fumble recovery at the end of the game. So just the senior, he showed out in a big-time game on the road. I love it.
Yeah, when he plays well, they play well. And what impresses me is how hard of a runner he is for not having much size.
Yeah, coach said after the game he's about 135 pounds in all of his gear, but he ran real hard last night. A big reason why Clear Fork was able to get the win on the road, handing Galion their first loss. Cam Todd, the Mansfield Senior quarterback, efficient again, 8 of 13 through the air, 148 yards and a score, 10 carries, 58 yards and a touchdown as the offense racks up 467 yards. Effie, he's just been consistent each week. I feel like he's growing with each passing game.
He is. It's amazing how you watch that offense grow, but how simple they've made it for him. You know, you would think they grow because they get more complicated, but in actuality, they're making it more simple. They're giving him more easier reads. He's got one guy to read. He's pulling the ball when he's supposed to. He's making solid runs. He may not be a home run hitter as a running back, but the threat of him pulling the ball and making significant gain is something that you gotta, yet another thing that you gotta prepare for when you're playing the Tigers. So he's just having a great year, and I think he's growing each week.
He's got his team off to a 6-0 start. Tommy Zerzow, the Lucas running back and linebacker, 22 carries, 184 yards, and 5 touchdowns in one game for him as the Cubs rushed for 347 yards in this game. Just having a guy that takes pay dirt 5 times, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing fantasy points, I think he won the week. I mean, when you get in the end zone that much. But when you're at Lucas, man, like, I think if you're born and you're a running back, it's like, you're tougher than a $2 steak, man. You know what I mean? Like, these guys are just incredible. I appreciate how hard those guys play, and week to week playing kind of unknown competition around the state because of the fact they're searching to fill their schedule, but they continually find teams, they continually beat people, and they have people like this that are just doing a great job.
Yeah, the senior special night, 5 touchdowns for Zerzow in the win. Caleb Gallwitz of East Knox. You want to talk about fantasy football points. 24 carries, 265 yards on the ground for him. And then he also got into the end zone 4 times for the Bulldogs, who remained undefeated at 6-0, but what's most impressive to me is they went on the road homecoming night against an undefeated team in Northmor, and this kid lit them up.
It's a lot like what we talked about earlier with Galion. If you come in on the road and you're ready to play, there's a lot to be said about being ready to play, and you got a kid who has a night like he did, getting into the end zone, doing everything on the football field. You're going to have a great chance to win, and that's an outstanding night for an individual performer, no matter what level you're playing at.
Got involved on the defensive side too, as they hold the Golden Knights scoreless. Bulldogs shut out Northmor 41-0. Wrap things up here with Cooper Graham, the River Valley junior running back / linebacker. He had a special performance all over the field. 13 carries, 70 yards, and a score. 2 defensive interceptions too. Took one of them back 67 yards for a touchdown. So he was getting involved offense, defense, big time shutout win.
Yeah, it might have been the most complete player that we have on the list this week. You love the two-way players. That's what's great about high school football, is your best athletes are playing both ways, especially the smaller the school, your best have to play. And to have that kind of a night, I guarantee you after the game was over, he probably had an ice bath.
As they win 34-0 on the road at Ontario, Graham, big time performance. So that's the top individual performances that we had by high school athletes here in the area last night. Let's flip the page now and check out the top plays. Here's the top 5, brought to you by North Central State College. Top play nominee number 1 coming at ya, and it's River Valley's Cooper Graham turning some defense into some offense. As you see him pilfer the Warriors pass, and he sets sail 67 yards, all the way in for a Viking score. Awesome awareness to sniff out the screenplay, and he gets one for the Graham. Double tap 6 points in a 34-0 win. To Lexington High School we go. Mansfield quarterback Cam Todd sends the rock airborne, tight coverage, but Cyrus Ellerby don't care. Bye, Felicia, as he flashes the deuces, piecing out for 85 yards all the way to some pay dirt. The first of 6 senior high TDs in a 42-zip victory. It's a 50-point Lucas blowout at nominee number 3, but it's Steubenville CC with the top play. The Crusaders beating triple coverage there on their only points of the night. That's Ryan Gorman hooking up with Anthony Spiacci for 31 yards and the touchdown. They lose 57-7, but making the list for a little bit of magic when they got on the board. Next up, it's a beatdown at Northmor, where East Knox bruiser Caleb Gowitz was the one dishing out the beating. You see him bouncing off 3 would-be tacklers that can only be slowed down by his own teammate, as he shakes loose for 57 yards off the cutback. One of 4 scores for Gowitz in the game, who helps the Bulldogs mow down the Knights 41-0. Our final nominee, Brennan South, clearly he's been lifting. Clear Fork Senior signal caller bursting through a whole bunch of Galion arm tackles as he dots the I on a hard-fought 12-yard scamper to pay dirt. 4 total touchdowns for South in a big close win, but none more impressive than that play right there. So once again, we had a ton of great nominees for the top performers and the top plays. And remember to weigh in with your vote each and every week. You can register those on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. So get out there, vote, make it count, people. All right, 6 weeks into the season now, we got a pretty good idea of the teams that we have around here, about the athletes, who's good, who's not. What do you guys feel like you've really taken away from the 6 weeks now that we're getting into conference play a little bit too?
Tackling has continued to get better. I can tell you what, the first couple weeks tackling was really, really bad. The second thing that I'm seeing is that a lot of the teams that we predicted to be good are pretty good right now, which is a credit to a lot of coaching staffs, because I'm telling you, the 2 hardest things to do is to build a winner, and then the other hardest thing to do in a microcosm, in a small and a year-to-year thing, is to actually get your kids not to listen to people like us and think they're great and they're going to be good and they're going to have an unbelievable year, and to actually go out, value practice, get better each and every week, and beat the teams you're supposed to beat and kind of the way you're supposed to beat them. Yeah. So that's what I've seen, is that the cream has risen to the top and is continuing to rise to the top. And I think that at the end of the year, a lot of the people that we thought were going to be league champs or definitely competing for league champs will be doing that.
So some lessons you've taken away, Mr. James.
I'm enjoying the balance in high school football in this area. You know, usually you always have a couple teams that are either heavy pass or heavy run. You know, there's a lot of teams that are showing a lot of balance week in and week out. They're throwing the football, they're running the football well. We have these quarterbacks that can do it all. Right. We have all these different formations. So I'm really enjoying the fact that this area of football, I know it's all over football, but it's really showing and spotlighting the fact that kids can do multiple things offensively. And it's great to see a guy that can actually throw the football at Lucas and pushing the ball down the field, and watching the Tigers, even though they've got a quality quarterback, settle down and run for almost 400 rushing yards against Lex. So, you know, it's great to see some balance on the offensive end at this point of the season.
I think honestly what's most exciting for me is to see that Mansfield Senior has, I would even argue, exceeded expectations. We thought they were going to be the best team in the area. They're coming out, they're putting it on people every single week with the target on their back. I like that they have all three phases of the game. All the athletes that we thought that they had have shown out. So kudos to Mansfield Senior and Chioke Bradley for, you know, corralling everything, making sure that the kids are doing the right things. Their preparation seems really good at practice in the film room. That's one thing that the coaching staff told me, is that the kids understand their keys this year, that they're really, it's a smart, talented group. So good job by Mansfield Senior for the 6-0 start.
And they have two unbelievable wins. I mean, that Sandusky win and that Norwalk win right now they're probably the best two wins in the entire region. Right. So that has to be mentioned with that team. I mean, they have, not only have they exceeded expectations, but I mean, they've beaten two really good, two 5-1 teams.
Sure. Yeah, they definitely have the inside track now to be number one in that Division III Region 10. All right, guys, we're awful at this, so let's go ahead and try our hand one more time. Crystal ball, bold call, look into it. What's coming in the future in Week 7, Erik? What's going to shock some folks around the area?
Effie's laughing at me. Here we go. The Madison Rams, I'm calling on you, man. Get your first win this week against the Harding Presidents. That's my prediction. I think they're going to compete well in that game, and this will be a great opportunity for them to get a win. Have a great week of practice. Guys, I want to sit here in this seat next Saturday and say, man, my bold prediction has been solid.
You know, I think I will go with, I think I went out, you know, kind of bold in the last couple of weeks. So I'm gonna bring it in a little bit.
You're gonna reel it back?
I'm gonna bring it in a little bit, and I'm gonna say, you know, we've watched a couple teams this week not play so well at homecoming. The Tigers have Ashland coming in, who are, you know, they're riding a 2-game winning streak, coming in looking for their third conference win. I say the Tigers are going to shut out Ashland, and it will be a shutout on homecoming. I think they will come ready to play, and they won't meet the fate of some of these other teams. They will come ready to play. They're going to see Ashland and respect that program, and they're going to come out ready to play. And I think I see another shutout for the Tigers this week.
Man, so a shutout for Mansfield Senior is going to be 7-0. The Rams are going to get off the schneid. And for me, we talk about the Lucas schedule. Outside of a conference, they got to take people from all over. So they got a team from Columbus coming into their place that's a Division II school, St. Charles, this Friday night. And you know what? The school's got more boys there than the entire town of Lucas even has people. But you know what, Cubs fans? That doesn't matter, because you guys are going to beat them at home at Bob Wine Field on Friday night. And I know that I haven't been good at this, but we're going to get the positive momentum rolling starting in Week 7. All right, there
is that what's going to happen?
Don't hate me, Cubs fans, if it doesn't go well. It's not my fault. So make sure that you're finding us all over the social medias. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and then at the website, oh.report. We've got every team schedule from around North Central Ohio. We've got the team standings. We've got team pages, including a brand new one for the Galion Tigers. So find all of your media stuff all in one place, oh.report. Thanks once again to Erik Will for being here every Saturday, to the King, Effie James, dropping some knowledge on you kids, and I'm Brian. We'll see you again right here on the Pigskin.